part 2, we'll look at how Newquay grew from just a small town into one of the most well-known tourist destinations in the country. Early guidebooks to Cornwall and Newquay were not too favourable at first. Cornwall, from its soil, appearance and climate, is one of the least inviting of the English counties. A ridge of bare and rugged hills, intermixed with bleak moors, runs through the midst of its whole length, and exhibits the appearance of a dreary waste. The Bank Holiday Act of 1871 introduced the public to the idea of increased leisure time. Travellers have been coming to Cornwall for centuries, but it was the first passenger train to Newquay in 1876 that shaped the town as a holiday destination. Construction of many of the early hotels in the town was helped by Great Western Railway investing in company shares and bonds. Firm financial support and building ever larger hotels ensured the increasing number of tourists had somewhere to stay. Sylvanus Travail, a well-known Cornish architect, designed the 3 most iconic hotels in Newquay. The first, in 1879, was the Great Western Hotel, named after the railway. The second, in 1892, was the Atlantic Hotel, and the third, the most prestigious of them all, finished in 1900, was the Headland Hotel. To learn more of its opulent history, we've been lucky enough to speak to Mr. Armstrong, the owner of the Headland Hotel. In the programme so far, we've been looking at the connection between the railway and Newquay. What's the connection between GWR and the Headland Hotel?
In the early days, of course, the only way to get here sensibly would be by train. It would have been very difficult to arrive by any method other than rail. And somewhere in the hotel, there's a photograph of the new hotel omnibus, which was a horse-drawn carriage which would meet every train as it arrived at Newquay Station to bring the guests from the station up to the hotel. And no doubt GWR perceived benefit in having a quality hotel at the end of the line.
One of the key figures in our story is Travail. Can you tell us a little bit about him and his connection with this hotel?
Travail announced that he was going to build the finest hotel in the West Country, and as far as it goes, he probably succeeded. This was his final big hotel. His masterpiece, and the first person to sign the register was Sylvanus Travail himself, in a big black bold hand.
The construction of the Headland Hotel on what was considered common land led to rioting within the town. Travail ended up on the receiving end of some of this tension. On September the 1st, 1897, Travail steps off the train at Newquay Station with police protection. He's there to inspect the damage. A crowd of people gather to meet him. Against the advice of the police, Travail refuses to get a cab and begins walking into Newquay. He gets as far as Central Square when the crowd turn into a mob who began pelting him with sawdust, eggs, flour and rotten fruit. Despite the riots, Travail made it to the hotel to carry out his inspection. 6 years after the Headland Hotel riots, in 1903, on a train from Truro to Bodmin, Travail, plagued with depression, shot himself in the ladies' lavatory in a third-class carriage. With the completion of the large hotels and passenger line, the march of progress continued. But World War I was about to intervene. Newquay's coastline would be a scene of maritime conflict. Local fishermen rescued survivors from torpedoed ships. A war memorial was unveiled in 1921, commemorating the town's residents who died during the conflict. Following the war, extensive advertising by GWR marketed the town as a major tourist destination, and the Newquay we know today came into being. Due to the sheer number of carriages needed to transport tourists, the platform here at Newquay was extended 3 times, making it the longest in Cornwall. Once again, war intervened in Newquay's tourist industry. During the Second World War, hundreds of young men left Newquay Station on the railway to be transported to battlefields all over Europe. At the same time, children and young people from cities and towns around the UK came on the railway to Newquay as evacuees. Many hotels were requisitioned as hospitals, schools, and others as accommodation for military personnel. After the Second World War, tourism was Cornwall's key industry, and it was thriving in Newquay like nowhere else. In the final part, we'll look at post-war Newquay with its highs and lows as the tourist railway era gradually declined.